right?
What we are asking for from the government is full disclosure. We know what we're seeing, and there are so many of them. We're not
As I gaze upon the annals of time, one thing that comes through: we are not alone in this universe. It's a thought that rings true. Ancient cave dwellers drew spacecraft on the walls. It's a recurring theme. I've seen the same thing while walking late at night, and I know it's not a dream.
From Maelstrom to Manhattan, Boston to LA, there are people asking questions and they will not go away. But what has been seen might not be what it seems. The government's shadows dance and deceive.
If you tell the truth, they will ridicule everything you say and do. It's all part of a deception. It's a puppet master's tool. And I've seen those craft shut down the silos from 10 miles away. And there ain't nothing that the Pentagon can do. They can't make them go away.
From Maelstrom to Manhattan, Boston to LA, there are people asking questions and they will not go away. But what has been seen might not be what it seems. The government's shadows dance and deceive. From Maelstrom to Manhattan, New York to LA, you can't get the picture if they're pale or they're gray. But what we have seen might not be what it seems when the government's shadows dance and deceive.
There are competing agendas to determine mankind's fate. Their influence here for millions of years, all part of a cosmic state. Lemuria, Atlantis, and Dwaka view, all part of Earth's history. And spacecraft and stargates are really nothing new. They're all part of a lost memory.
From Maelstrom to Manhattan, Paris to LA, there are people asking questions and they will not go away. But what has been seen might not be what it seems. The government's shadows dance and deceive.
The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network and its website are those of the hosts, guests, and participants, and are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcasts, the management, other hosts, or advertisers of the network. The shows found on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network can, but do not necessarily, promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only, and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or condition, or give any medical or legal advice. Coming to you from some far point station, like a cosmic tumbleweed, both north and south of the Pleiades. Here's your host, Gary Anderson.
Okay, well, here it is, Wednesday already, and it's the 28th of August. Boy, the time is going fast. By the way, that new bumper music is by a group up here in Washington State. Yeah, the name of the group is Metatron Power and Light. You can go on to our website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com and check out, I have them listed, and also where you can find their music on the internet and purchase it. Anyway, we got Russell on. We're going to be talking about his book. We're going to be talking about aliens and UFOs and all that right after this.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Well, are you set tonight? You got a cup of coffee? Coffee. What am I saying? Coffee, or maybe a nice cool one to sit back and listen tonight about UFOs, abductions, and aliens, and all that cool stuff. Hey, Russell, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Well, I am too. You want to tell everybody about your latest book?
Okay. Well, I never planned on writing it. As far as UFOs and the paranormal, I was agnostic about that until the age of 54 in 2009. And then I had an experience involving a near-death experience that changed my whole paradigm. And I got into the paranormal pretty deep with ghosts and eventually UFOs and cryptids. And I started accumulating notes, and I naively tried to document every known UFO sighting since the late 1800s, and it fast receded from me. I realized there was thousands of them. But at some point in my studies, I thought I had a pretty good compilation. So in 2016, I converted it to a book and entitled it Overlords of the Singularity, The Manipulation of Humankind by Hidden UFO Intelligences and the Quest for Transcendence. And that book, once published, really opened up a lot of doors for me. I've been invited on several radio shows, and I've done a couple of live presentations, and I've got an invitation pending to the Human Origins Conference next April. So I'm real excited about the direction that it took my life, and it never would have happened unless I had a near-death encounter.
Yeah, you're kind of drifting out there on your phone, which you weren't there before when we were talking online. I don't know. Do you have a microphone plugged into it or something? Because you're just nice, and then all of a sudden you drift off.
Let me take the headphones out.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
How's that sound?
You just really cranked up the volume. That made a big difference.
Okay, it was the headphones. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's nothing to be sorry about. So, what do you think is actually going on with all these, reports of UFOs? Do you feel, because there's two groups of people out there. One group of people think that these UFOs are here to help mankind, keep us from blowing us up, and then there's the other group that comes back and they say they're evil, they're not here, but only to serve themselves. How do you feel about it?
Well, that's a very deep question that goes far back into antiquity, even into biblical times or before in the ancient Sumerian culture. And my take on it is there's both, and these beings exist in higher densities of reality that our perceptual apparatus can perceive, and that there's some sort of cosmic drama going on in the higher densities that we can only grapple with on a very rudimentary level. You might call it a cosmic battle between good and evil. That's about as simplistic as it gets. But I'm sure there's a lot more to it in the other realms. But right now, yes, we do have a non-human intelligent influence of both the positively oriented variety and the negative oriented variety. These show up in our literature in all of the world scriptures as angels and demons and so forth.
Interesting. I don't know. It just seems like in the last couple years, besides the talk about disclosure on UFOs and all that stuff, it seems like, I hate to say it, the society has been changing drastically fast. I mean, things going on political, things going on economically to our country and the world, and the way people are treating people. I mean, it's getting really scary out there.
Yeah, it almost seems like both the positive and the negative have turned up the volume a little bit, and people are making choices. And I think this is a natural thing that happens. As far as economically, the biggest challenge that we have to face is automation taking over human jobs. And there's people that feel very positively about that we're moving into a paradism, is what they call it, where robots and automation have taken over what humans used to have to do, and will evolve into a very positively oriented, moneyless collective society. And then other people see that as a dystopia, and they don't want the automation to take over human jobs. They sort of define their life by what they do for a living. And, then you've got people that will call those folks the modern-day Luddites that want to tear up the loom machines. So it's interesting, too, that we have, for the first time, a politician talking about universal basic income. Some other countries like Finland are starting to experiment with that. And there's resistance to that, and then there's others that will embrace it. So yeah, there's a major paradigm conflict going on multiple levels. It's kind of an exciting time to live right now.
It is, and it isn't. Even McDonald's, they're putting in these automated. You go in, instead of talking to somebody behind the counter, you go to a machine and push your button and put your credit card in or debit card in, and then your food will be delivered. I mean, it's really getting cold out there, and then they're talking about microchipping here in the next year or 2 or 3 or whatever, people, to get away from cash and credit cards. I don't know. And people, I think, need something like a job to be creative, to be able to, make their life feel full. Just to sit home and get a check of a certain amount of money each month. I mean, yeah, I guess there's a certain amount of people in society who would be happy with that. But I would think the majority of people out there would hate it. At least I know I would.
Well, it's funny. Even I've been retired for 2 years now, and I've got some ex-coworkers that say they're never going to retire because they wouldn't know what to do with themselves. But personally, since I retired, I've explored old interests that I let go dormant because my job interfered with it. And my personal vision, if we go in that direction to a moneyless society where automation takes over all labor, is it will free humanity up to pursue personal relationships, to travel all over the world and make connections with an expanded family, pursue art and science and poetry and music, and really discover, inner spiritual things about themselves that their job sort of interfered with. We all get into this 40-hour week type thing. I did it for 42 years. And the first thing I thought of when I retired was, how in the world did I do that for 42 years? And because I have to admit, I'm enjoying my life now as a retiree a lot more than I did when I was working. I come home tired, got to sleep and get up and do it over again. So there's positives and things that people are apprehensive about, and which is normal. I mean, anytime there's a big paradigm shift, you're going to have the resistors and the people that hate the idea, and then others that embrace it. And who knows which faction will win in the end.
I know. It just depends on a person, and what you are. I know when my grandfather retired, he didn't live very much longer after he retired because one thing, he was very active. He worked in a machine shop where they built gas stations, where they pre-assembled the gas stations. So he was very active and all that. And then when he retired, the next day he would sit in his favorite chair and read books about World War II. And he survived a couple of years and then he passed on. And I really feel that because he wasn't active, to stay active, to, stay healthy. I know I'm retired. I've been retired a little bit longer than you have. I'll tell you, the first year was living hell for me. And then when I got back into broadcasting, then I love it now more than ever. But I will tell you this, the last 20 years I was working various radio stations or when I was managing a chain of